Meet the Annihilator, a destructive individual with one of the most powerful minds in the Commonwealth. The Annihilator has a strength of 5, perception of 4, endurance of 7, charisma 1, intelligence of 9, agility of 1, and luck 2. Strength not only represents that the Annihilator isn't weedy, but also gets us access to Heavy Gunner immediately, so we can use the early game miniguns even more effectively. Perception is at 4, as we will be able to get the bobblehead early on, which then gets us Demolition Expert, not only making our throwables more powerful, but also helping a couple of our big guns too. Endurance is our second highest stat at 7. I wanted this build to be able to take some real hits, both in and out of power armor, and high endurance represents how the Annihilator is a real tough guy. However, he is definitely not a people person, as shown through having the lowest charisma possible. Intelligence is our highest stat and is the Annihilator's defining attribute. Although his physical state is impressive, his mind is the true strength he holds. This is also going to let us level up nice and fast. Agility and luck are both set low. Neither are needed for this build, and luck has been raised by 1 purely for perks. The essential perks for this build are Armourer, Science, Gun Nut, Heavy Gunner, and Demolition Expert. Obviously, the first 3 are to allow you to fully craft all your gear to its maximum potential. You will want to have the most advanced technology at your disposal, and these perks are undeniably useful. Heavy Gunner and Demolition Expert are your combat perks, allowing you to deal massive damage in combat with big guns and explosives. The recommended perks for this build include Chem Resistant, Chemist, Adamantium Skeleton, Scrapper, Nuclear Physicist, Scrounger, and Nerd Rage. Chem Resistant and Chemist are going to open up the vast world of drug abuse to this character, making him even more powerful than he already was. Arguably you won't need these, but who doesn't want to fire a Gatling laser whilst off a head-on jet? I added Adamantium Skeleton to this build as I was finding that quite often the things that were damaging me the most were my own explosions. Scrapper and Nuclear Physicist are both going to make power armor more viable by helping you find more fusion cores and increasing their duration respectively. Also, don't forget about the repair bobblehead on top of Corvega. Finally, Nerd Rages is just a pretty fun perk for when things do end up going south, by providing you with some sweet bonuses when you get too low on health. Once you get the Intelligence bobblehead, you will gain access to this perk, so you may as well grab a rank of it at the very least. The role-playing perks for this build are Medic, Hacker, and Robotics Expert. Medic is here to showcase the short time that the Annihilator spent as a doctor. Although he has no desire to help out others, this medical knowledge does help him to more effectively heal himself. Hacker and Robotics both help to highlight the vast intellectual capabilities of this build. This guy could explain how quantum entanglement could potentially allow faster than light travel. He's not going to be stumped when it comes to getting around a bit of advanced software. From a young age, it was clear that the Annihilator was a genius. There was no abstract concept he couldn't wrap his mind around, no equation that he couldn't solve, and no problem that his intellect couldn't work a way around. As with what happens with plenty of smart kids who don't find themselves an intellectual challenge fast enough, he got bored. He ended up spending his free time gathering various perfectly safe household items, and combining them together to either make explosive compounds or dangerous jury-rigged weaponry that he would use on anything he could get away with destroying. After he finished school, he ended up travelling from job to job, working with chemical companies, robotics factories, and even as a doctor for a short amount of time. He had never placed much value in human life, however, and this last one suited him less than any of the others had. After this, he ended up joining the military. Realising that developing tech to help people didn't please him, he decided that creating tech to hurt humans might be more what he would enjoy. As always, his prediction turned out to be correct, and he spent several years helping the military create devastating weaponry. Although this did satisfy him intellectually, he held a desire to actually test out his creations in the field. Fortunately for him, he was asked to join the Kill Squad, as both an engineer and demolition expert, a proposition that appealed greatly to the Annihilator, who agreed without needing any persuading. He did have to go through a lot of training before joining the squad, increasing both his strength and his toughness. He was a valuable asset for the military, and before letting him loose on the battlefield, they wanted to ensure that he would have a decent chance of survival. After the training though, he joined the squad and was provided with all the gear he could ever need, from power armor to rocket launchers, Mr. Gutsies to buff out. He had absolutely everything he could ever want, and during the whole time he used both his mind and this devastating technology to obliterate any force that got in his way. Despite never having got on with anyone particular in his life before now, he did feel a certain amount of belonging within the Kill Squad. Of course, the day came when the sergeant of the squad killed another member, and then the squad just slowly fell apart. The Annihilator stayed on with the military for a while, but left after falling in love with a lawyer, and they settled down together in Sanctuary Hills. The Annihilator did miss his days in the kill squad, but he also cared for his family, and knew that it was better for him to be out of harm's way in order to raise his son properly. After the bombs fall, the Annihilator will devoutly search for his son, but will also be glad of the opportunity to once again unleash havoc on those with inferior technology to him. The Annihilator will be siding with the Institute during the main story. He craves technology and knowledge above all else and wishes to gain access to everything the Institute has. Before you do gain access to the Institute though, side with the Brotherhood. Although their tech isn't as advanced, there is still plenty the Annihilator can learn from them before he inevitably obliterates them. In addition, this build will want to become a raider through the Nuka DLC. I suggest helping all three gangs, but focus mostly on the operators, as they appear to have some decent technological capabilities. Whilst playing this build, you will want to avoid human companions. The Annihilator has never got on with other people and doesn't like spending time with them. I suggest either creating your own custom robot if you have the Automaton DLC, or using X688 as your companion, as the Annihilator would much rather have robots with him to do his bidding. Your primary weapon for this build will be Eternus, the Gatling laser with infinite ammo. Or at least that's how it's supposed to work. Mine was a little bugged out, so it didn't always work like this, but even with that issue it was still working more than well enough for my needs. This weapon will take a while to get, as you first need to complete the Nuka DLC for the Raiders, and then complete the quest Armourer Combat multiple times before facing the Rogue Knight, who will carry the unique Gatling laser. It does normally bounce off of his body though, so make sure to check the Kolakar arena for it. Alternatively, you can try and get a final judgment off of Elder Maxon, but this is also going to take a while to get. Before getting these weapons, use any big guns you can get your hands on. Probably the easiest of all will be the minigun, which you can get incredibly early on, and getting ammo is relatively easy, making it a great weapon for the early game. In addition, if you put the shredder on it, even when you run out of ammo, you can use it just as a whirling machine for close quarters death and dismemberment. This build uses power armor extensively, and you want to spend most of your time suited up. As you progress throughout the game, keep upgrading your suit from T45 all the way up to X01. Eventually you will be able to fully upgrade the suit, and I recommend the Institute paint and the internal database on the helmet to increase your intelligence, once again showcasing just how smart the Annihilator is. Other than this, feel free to mix and match whatever mods you like. I spent a fair amount of time with a jetpack, but also found the medic pump incredibly helpful for increasing survivability. For the times when you are not in power armor, but still may need some protection, then wear your Vault jumpsuit and synth armor. You can purchase multiple legendary synth pieces from the Synth Requisition Officer, and you can get a legendary Vault jumpsuit from completing the Vault Tech Workshop DLC. Whilst outside of combat situations, I suggest wearing a lab coat, just to boost your intelligence and therefore your XP rewards. Obviously it isn't safe to wander around in this all the time, but it's going to be light enough that you can make room to carry it around with you in your inventory in addition to your armour. Playing this build is nice and simple. You're a walking tank who uses the most powerful guns and armour in the game, and to top it all off, you can just drug up if you ever face a challenge. Feel free to kill anyone who stands in your way, and always take up the opportunity to learn new information and gain access to interesting technology. Thank you very much for watching this build. I hope it was entertaining for you to watch, and feel free to leave any thoughts or questions below. As well as working on these builds, I've been planning out several other series for this channel, and although, as of the time of me writing this script, I haven't got any videos ready, I should be uploading on multiple days a week by the end of the year, at the very latest. If there is any style of content you would like to see, then let me know and I will start work on it if I haven't already. Thanks again for watching, and make sure to watch any builds you have yet to see, and subscribe to the channel so that you can get all the future content I have coming.